What's up guys, it's Ed from Tech Source and welcome to Setup Wars episode 123 where you submit your desk setup to get featured on the show. And if you guys want to participate, if you have a pretty interesting setup and you want to join the show, make sure to watch the video linked all the way down below. Let the Setup Wars begin. Starting off the show, we got Alex and his Game of Thrones themed setup. He even matched the colors of the three sigils to the rest of the setup. Very nice. He's got the banners on the wall, got the wallpaper on the ROG Swift monitor. I mean, this guy is dedicated. Even the RGB lighting on his K70 keyboard and the M65 mouse are matching the theme, and it's in the same order as well. For audio, he's rocking a pair of Bose companion speakers, and it doesn't look like he's using any headphones. Most people would put the PC on the right side of the desk, even if the side panel is facing forward, so it's interesting that he placed it on the left side instead. I definitely agree with that because not only does it look a lot better in that corner, giving you extra space on your actual desk to work with, but you don't see any cables as well. Speaking of cables, looks like the Signum rack is holding up majority of the wires, and he even managed to hook up a power strip against the wall. The PC he's rocking is a beast. It's equipped with the 7700K and an ASUS Strix 1080 Ti Overclock Edition, and I'm definitely loving those custom mods. The V1 Tech GPU backplate, SSD covers, and the fan grills. I'm not sure if you painted the side of your radiator or if that's a wrap, but whatever it is, you did a really great job on that, and the CPU cooler as well. Notice how his RGB fans up top are matching the order of the sigil of the Game of Thrones. I mean, this guy, like I said, is dedicated. A very beast setup. Thank you, Alex, for starting off the show. Dominic is up next with a very simple ultra-wide monitor setup featuring the Acer Predator X34, which is hooked up to the wall. And then below that, we got the Corsair K65 rapid-fire keyboard and the Logitech G502 mouse. For symmetry reasons, he added his Nikon camera on the left side to offset the IKEA plant on the right. Honestly though, it kind of looks out of place. I would just buy another plant and use that instead if you really care about the symmetry. I do want to give you some points on being creative with your acoustic foams, because most people, including myself, use the entire square piece and design something with it. But you took it to the next level and you cut it up to create your very own pattern. Also, if you guys look very closely, you can see that he routed the monitor cables through the back of the foams to try and hide it. Personally, I would use a wall raceway and run the wire straight down and to the side, just like how I did in my Wolverine setup. I only say this because it will look a lot cleaner this way, and the wires running across the foam stick out and ruin the aesthetics of this beautiful setup. Also, for all future contestants, please don't move stuff around just to take pictures because you think it will look a lot cleaner. Obviously, I can tell that your T-bone microphone belongs on that mount near the front of your desk, so why not just leave it there? I promise I won't rip you a new one. If the placement is convenient for you, then by all means, stick with it. There's no need to hide in shame. So the setup doesn't have any actual speakers, but what he does have is a pair of headphones from V-Moda. Looks like these are the popular M100 crossfades, and it's hanging under the desk on a hanger. And it looks like the cable is running through the front of the setup, which is a no-no. I always recommend running the cables through the back of the setup and into the PC using some cable clips underneath the desk to keep the wire from hanging down. And if you're worried about the length, you can always pick up an extension cable, which I will link below. Another thing I would recommend for your setup is a channel raceway because it doesn't look like you have that many cables to begin with. I mean, sure, you can use tape, but that looks horrible. I would recommend either a 48-inch channel raceway, or you can actually pick up smaller 12-inch pieces, and I'll drop a link below if you want to check those out. The PC powering this setup is a really nice one actually, and it's rocking the 4790K and an ASUS Strix 1080. We got some custom sleeving cables for the GPU, and the red RAM sticks and accents from your motherboard really make it pop, and it blends nicely with your overall setup's theme. The final thing I would recommend for your setup are some wall shelves, and maybe you can put some stuff in them that reflect your personality or taste. And since your setup has a lot of polygons and the square acoustic foams, I went ahead and picked the shelves that would fit nicely with your setup. If you don't like those, you can stick with the usual rectangular IKEA wall shelves. And if shelves aren't your thing, maybe you can pick up some art for the walls because it's looking a bit empty above your setup. This is actually the canvas I picked up for my setup if you watched my vlogs, and I think it will blend nicely with your setup. So I'll drop a link below in case you or anyone else wants to check it out. You have an awesome setup, but it definitely needs some tweaks to improve it. Thank you, Dominic, for entering. Mr. Skywalker is next up with a black and orange setup featuring NETGEAR. He's rocking three 27-inch BenQ monitors, and below that he's got the Corsair K70 RGB keyboard with rapid fire switches, and we also got the M65 Pro RGB mouse. The desk he's using is the Loco White Crescent desk, and he kept it fairly clean. There's not a lot of things on it. He's got a pair of Bose Companion 2 speakers, a phone dock from JBL for his iPhone, and his Astro 850 wireless gaming headset that's sitting on a walnut wood stand. Okay, so I like that you drill a hole in your mouse pad for the keyboard and mouse, but I would have preferred to drill only one hole instead. The keyboard hole you have up there would have worked just fine, and all you had to do was just run the mouse wire underneath the keyboard and through the hole. It would have looked a lot cleaner in my opinion. Speaking of cables, not much going on under here. It looks like the majority of the wires are behind the backboard, so I can't really give you any opinions here. Also down here is the Fanatic themed PC rocking a 6800K and an EVGA 1080 for the win graphics card. I love that the motherboard has red accents, even though the entire color scheme of his setup is black and orange. But honestly, the tinted glass panel pretty much blocked that out, and the orange LEDs are the only thing that's visible through it, so it kind of worked out. A very impressive and symmetrical setup indeed. Thank you, Luke, for entering. Who says you need a large ass desk to make a ridiculous gaming setup? I mean, if Mosin can do all this on a crappy wooden table, then no one should complain about space issues. Seriously, look how small that desk is compared to everything else around it. Wow. I don't even know how practical this is. I mean, you have to be really close to the monitor and TV to use that keyboard and mouse, and you're gonna have some serious neck problems. It's like sitting in the front row seat at a movie theater. It's insane. So apparently the desk is custom made by him. I mean, if it's custom built, why didn't you at least make it slightly bigger? It is a black and green setup, so obviously that means Razer gear. He's rocking the Black Widow X keyboard with the Death Adder Elite mouse on top of the Razer Goliathus extended mousepad. Those two giant light things on the sides are wireless RGB light poles apparently, and on the left one he built a custom VR stand for his HTC Vive. It's actually screwed in the wall. It's technically not sitting on the light pole. For audio, he's got the Logitech Z506 speaker set and the Razer Manowar wireless headphones. All the cables are hidden behind the green backboards he made, but let's take a look at the PC, which I'm sure you guys have been eyeballing since the beginning, because I know I have. It's a custom water-cooled build featuring the 5930K 6-core processor, and we got two NVIDIA Titan XPs in SLI. Holy cow. He's even custom painted some of the parts like the PSU cover, the fans, and even the IO cover to match the rest of his setup. Looks like the SLI bridge is also custom made. Very impressive. This is definitely one badass Razer themed gaming setup. Thank you Mosin for entering. Wrapping up the video, we got NASCO and a very clean white, black, and red setup featuring the 28-inch Samsung monitor. We also got the Razer Black Widow X Tournament Edition Chroma keyboard with the Corsair M65 Pro mouse. This is definitely an interesting way to manage the wires from your peripherals, which I haven't seen yet. It looks like he hooked up two of the raceways underneath the Alex add-on unit, and he routed the cables through them. That's interesting. So on the add-on unit, he's got a pair of SteelSeries Arctis 7 wireless gaming headset with a custom Stormtrooper vinyl sticker on it, and on the right side is the JBL wireless charge speaker. I gotta say, I love the presentation of this setup. The contrast, color consistency, and the cleanliness. Everything is on point. I can tell NASCO definitely spent some time perfecting this. Notice how he moved the Alex drawer on the right side slightly out so that he has some space to put his custom skin PS4. And by the way, that art was actually drawn by him. Very impressive. He also has custom skin PS4 controllers, which he hooked up underneath the desk. And while we're down here, let's take a look at what he did with the cables. Okay, so we can't see anything from the front, but NASCO was kind enough to pull his desk forward to show behind it, and just as expected, it's managed very well. If you got the guts to pull your desk forward and show what's behind it, then you, my friend, have nothing to hide. A lot of cable clips, 3M tape, and patience was required to get this one done. Beautiful work with the cable management. I absolutely love the white on red contrast, and it really brings together the entire setup. I was just about to recommend a Stormtrooper's mural so that he can hook it up on the top of his setup, but apparently he already has one. I just don't know where he hung them. It's either way up there on top of your monitor or it's probably on a different wall, but at least you have one in your room. The PC that's powering this setup is actually a laptop. It's the Acer Predator, which is equipped with a 6700 HQ and a GTX 1060. I actually did a video on the newer version of his laptop, and it's the best one you can buy under $1,100, so make sure you guys check it out in case you missed it. I'll drop a link below. I'm a huge fan of your setup, excellent work on it. Thank you, Nasco, for entering. So that is it for this episode of Setup Wars. Make sure you guys drop your comments down below and vote on who you think has the best desk setup. As always, I'll announce the winners on my Twitter and Instagram accounts on the weekend, so make sure you guys are following me there if you want. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.